Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. On today's show, we meet comedian Tara Cannistraci, who is touring up and down New Jersey all year long. But first, Dr. Jeffrey Senese was recently inaugurated as Caldwell University's 10th president, with the mission to keep New Jersey students in state for their higher education. Dr. Senese joins us now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, congratulations to you on the new role. Please tell us your background and how you ended up at Caldwell University.
I've been an academic leader for the last 20 years. I started my career as a department chair, then dean, then provost at a number of different institutions. Prior to coming to Caldwell, I was president at St. Leo University in Tampa, Florida. And here I am in beautiful northern Jersey.
What was the move like coming from sunny Florida to cold at the moment, New Jersey?
Yeah, the winter, we were down there 5 years, so the winter was pretty tough this year. But I grew up in Philadelphia area, so I'm used to the cold long term. But my wife and I, it took us the whole winter to get used to it. So, you all get tired. We get tired of the heat down in Florida. It was pretty unbearable most of the year. We were looking for a place that really had a solid mission, that had a mission that was focused on the kind of students we attract. We're a Hispanic serving institution. We have a lot of diversity in our student population. We're also looking for an institution that was in a city or around a city. And, I can't think of a better city in the United States to be in and around than New York and of course, Newark down the street from us, a little bit closer. We're looking for that as well. My wife and I grew up in Philadelphia, grew up in big city environment. I lived in Baltimore for 10 years. We like cities. So when I saw this campus, just gorgeous campus up on a hill, couldn't resist.
I know many New Jersey residents leave the state for higher education programs, but how are you and Caldwell University helping keep students in state?
Yeah. Yeah, New Jersey's number one in the country and has been for a number of years in terms of students leaving the state. And they leave for a reason, a couple of reasons. Families are pretty well off in New Jersey and the students are good. So they have a lot of choices. So the students that remain are adult students that are working, that have families. So we're focused on creating programs that accommodate their schedules, that are accelerated in the sense that you take one course at a time and kind of work your way through. We have traditional students, no doubt about it, and that's always going to be the case. And students need the campus experience. It's a maturation and it's a rite of passage in our country for people who want professional work. But the adult students, it needs to cater to their needs. So our staff are going to be available at night and on the weekends. Sort of making an adjustment to what the market demands right now is what we need to do. And one other thing I'd say about that is all of us need to continue our education over our lifetime, and you don't need everything. You might not need another degree, but you might need a smaller course or an update on something or the other. So we're working on what they call micro credentials that will allow people to pick up skills and knowledge that they need just in time rather than a full degree program.
Oh, that's really cool. So, for example, if you want to brush up on social media skills, you can go to Caldwell University and
Correct.
take a course or two to just get with the times.
Yes, correct. Or, accounting principles changed. And when we move from the old standards to the new standards, we do some training. We offer this summer a certificate program in investing. So if you're somebody that advises people about their investing strategies, this will allow you to earn a certification over the course of a summer.
I think that's so vital. And people's attention spans now, they want to be in and out, pick up a lesson or two. I don't know if dedicating yourself to a full course load, especially if you're working, raising a family, it might not be so feasible. So it's really awesome that you're offering that.
Like most institutions of our type, we pay attention to the market and try and be as nimble as we can. We're not a big state institution that has a big bureaucracy. I mean, I worked for Penn State, great school, but to make anything happen, it took forever. Where as Caldwell University, we're small. We can make decisions very quickly. I can call the board tomorrow and say, let's talk about this and make this decision, and it can happen very quickly, as opposed to a big public institution that has legislature and everyone else to answer to.
Yeah, and you have all of these ideas that I know you want to hit the ground running with. So I think it's really cool that you really have ownership of your title as president of Caldwell University.
So President Bowachi and I started talking. I think I was here maybe 2 or 3 weeks when we started talking. I toured the new campus on Bloomfield Avenue that they built out here, their West Campus. And I said, why not make it seamless? So we accept the same acceptance that they do. We're accredited by the same accreditor, both generally and for the business programs. So we said, why not make this work seamlessly? And then we match the public tuition. So Caldwell University will match what a student would pay at Montclair State or at Rutgers. Actually, it's cheaper than Rutgers because that's part of the barrier for students moving from Essex County College to Caldwell University was the financing. So we said, okay, let's make that go away. So we're a viable choice. We have staff who will work at the Newark campus and at the West Essex campus to help students come to Caldwell University and help advise them in general. So if they decide to go to a public institution, Kane or Rutgers or wherever, we're also going to help students, because that, we think in the long run, that helps us. So it's both financial and credit hours. When they come to Caldwell University, they come as a junior. So if they have an associate degree in hand, we count those first 2 years as a block, and then they complete 2 years with us.
That's great that you're offering that. You recently wrote the article, Higher Ed is More Than the Ivy Leagues. And I think that kind of ties into the answer that you just gave, because college, yes, it's great to go to the brand name school, but it's all about what you put into it, and even more importantly, what you do after the fact, and the passion and getting those tools and implementing them in the workspace. So what inspires you to write that article?
A couple of different things. Look, there's only 8 Ivy schools. And what percentage of the total population of students go? It's minuscule, go to those institutions. Harvard University itself has a $46 billion endowment. They're not going to struggle. The rest of higher ed, where most of us go to school, it's a different matter. So we shouldn't look to Harvard as a model. They just aren't a model. The vast majority of students, I would say, if you look at the data, it's somewhere around 65% of the students go to places like Caldwell University or their regional public institutions. That's where students go to school. That's the model. And what we do that's different than the Ivies or elite institutions is we focus on teaching. We focus on, our faculty do scholarship to keep themselves current, but their primary focus is on students. It's not on them doing research. I grew up that way, right? I was tenured at University of Maryland. I was a research faculty member, and I had to teach on the side. I loved to teach, but it wasn't my primary duty. My primary duty was to get tenure and get promoted, which meant writing articles, getting grants, writing books, that kind of thing. It's all good, but places like Caldwell University, we focus on teaching. We focus on what students want. You know, when I was, and I am a parent, I have 2 college graduates. When I was going on the college tours, I would say, okay, who's teaching? Who's in the class? Is it a grad student or is it the faculty member? What you'll get at a place like Caldwell is faculty member rather than a grad student. And that's important.
It is important. You know, you mentioned that you have 2 college-age children. I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I have a 9-month-old and a 3-year-old.
Oh, boy.
Yes. But my husband and I, we have the college savings plan going, and we're preparing because, I mean, doctor, is it going to be like $1 million a year to send my children to school once they're of age? Because we kind of freak out about that. It's got, the bubble has to burst eventually, right?
Yeah, I think we're at that point, quite frankly. And if you look at, so Caldwell University is middle of the road with the independent institutions in this area. My 2 examples. So my daughter went to a public school in Pennsylvania when we lived there, and we paid virtually nothing for that. And it was something we could do on an ongoing basis. My son went to Duquesne in Pittsburgh, great school, but all the college savings money for both our kids went there. And he still has quite a bit of debt. Long term, I can't see it continuing on the course that it's traveling. And there are a couple of models across the country. So Oregon has a model that is you pay a little bit while you're going, and then you have obligation longer term. So there's going to be different models like that we've got to figure out a way that it doesn't become 200,000 or 300,000 a year by the time your kids are ready for school. Because I can guarantee you, I've been to China like 36 times, so did a lot of recruiting there. They're not telling their kids don't get college, which we shouldn't tell our kids not to get college. It's not, the world is going to get more complicated. Information and expertise is going to be more important over the course of your kids growing up. College is going to continue to be important. There are going to be lots of other ways to do it too. So you may not be able to afford residential experience, right? That'll be a luxury, that you're going to go away for 4 years and spend your time on campus. It's going to be more online, and it's going to be, like I said earlier, more smaller pieces. So you'll get that initial degree, and maybe the initial degree's 2 years or 3 years, and then you get the other pieces you need as you move through your career. Your employer might provide it. A lot more is going to be online. Online has gotten phenomenally better over the last 10 years. So over the next 10 years, it'll become more real. I think there are going to be things like that that'll help deal with the cost, but I don't see it continuing the way it is.
Sounds like you've been everywhere, China, all over the country. But let's take it back locally. How is Caldwell University giving back to the local communities that surround the campus?
Sure. So we do a number of things. Our ministry program does midnight runs into New York. We have service programs where everything from a elder home going and doing reading or spending time with people to renovating a park. We have a in-student life here. It's all coordinated through our staff, where they take students out and want that kind of experience. You don't need to be a Catholic to come to Caldwell University. You just need to have, a spirit of, I want to make a difference. And students today want to contribute back to the community. We have a group down in South America right now over the break where they're helping to make a difference down there. Our nurses will travel out and do that kind of work all over the region, but in other areas as well. So it's sort of cooked into our mission, where our values are respect, integrity, community. And community doesn't mean just the Caldwell community, but the external community as well.
You make a great point. I think with this younger generation, giving back is of such importance, sometimes even more important than the degree aspect, because everyone, I think, is so civic minded.
And they need experience, right? So it doesn't matter, I always say this to my kids, it doesn't matter what you read. Reading is fundamental. Reading helps your brain develop in a way that you can't get in any other way. Work is the same, whether it's volunteer work or permanent work. It conditions you to get there on time and follow the rules, or be able to manage up to your boss or manage across to your coworkers. There's nothing like experience. So building experience into the degree programs is crucial.
Dr. Jeffrey Senese, where can people find out more about Caldwell University?
Sure, thanks. On our website, www.caldwell.edu.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to having you back on here again.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Tara Cannistraci is a stand-up comedian who has more than enough content for her larger-than-life sets. She joins us now to share more about her upcoming Garden State performances. Tara, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Lisa. Thank you so much.
I've known you for well over a decade at this point. We've done projects together, pilots, commercials, but the most exciting aspect of your career that I just love is everything that you have been able to accomplish in comedy. How did you get your start?
More than 2 decades ago, I probably started doing, sketch comedy in New York City, sketch comedy for a couple years. And then I really, really wanted to try stand up comedy and finally got the guts to go up on stage one day and do it. And I mean, I was hooked, but it was pretty scary at that point still, getting up on stage by yourself. I was so used to working with other people and relying on other people on stage with me. But that's 11 years veteran now, so
That first gig, take us through, first of all, what were the jokes? What did you base your set on? And what was the feeling for making such a bold move?
I had wanted to do stand up comedy for so long, and I was in a sketch comedy group, and we were doing these, big runs of shows for, however many months in the summer. And somebody was like, why don't you go warm up the crowd before the show starts since you want to do stand up comedy? Why don't you do that? So I wrote 5 minutes, maybe based on part of the production we were doing, part of being maybe Italian from New York. And the night I was set to do it, I said, "Oh no, no, no! I changed my mind. I'm not gonna. I don't want to go up and do it." And they were like, "No, you're going up. Like you're part of the program now." And they were like, basically had to push me on stage. I was like, "No, no, 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 no." And then you get that first laugh, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." That first laugh, you're like, "This is it. I've made it." And then you struggle for the next decade, and then it's like, "Oh no, you have so much to do and grow and learn." And it just from there I got up, and then like I kind of, you shelve it, right? You don't think it's a real job, or I don't know. I was kind of talking myself out of it, and I couldn't. You can't talk yourself out of what you really think you're made for. Hopefully, if you're lucky enough, you don't. So then I really just started pursuing it hard. And like you said, I got so lucky to work with so many great comics that gave me so many better opportunities. So that really helped a lot. Yeah.
And please name drop some of them because it's the A-list of the A-list in the comedy world.
Yeah, no, my first big name I worked with was Vic DiBitetto, and now almost 10 years later, I signed with his manager, which is a really cool, like full 360. I was just like some young girl, like opening a young comic opening for him, and they were like, "She's funny enough," like. And now 10 years later, I signed with the same guy who I started with. When guys like that and the veteran comics like Rich Voss or Bobby Kelly, see something in you and encourage you or try and help you, then it's like kind of you need other people to believe in you before you could really believe in yourself. It's so so I'm very grateful that I had people believe in me before I believed in myself.
Your sets are greatly influenced by your life, whether it's your wedding, your childhood growing up in the Bronx, but especially your Italian American background. How has all of that influenced your career?
It's so funny when you first start, everybody goes start with what you know. That'll be the easiest thing to joke about. And then, even though I consider myself a very observational comic, I find that the more specific I am about my life, whether it's my marriage or dating or my being Italian, being from New York, the more specific you are, the really more universal you become. Like the more you reach people who are like, "Oh my God, she's just like me," or "She thinks just like me." And so I think that really has helped me. The videos that have resonated so much when I do online, I know the jokes that resonate with people are very specific, but even the online content, something can happen so specific and I talk about it and it's like, it's so generalized. Like it's such a relatable concept. I did a video where my husband came home one day and he announced he was throwing out the garbage. And I was like, "Did you just announce the one thing you do in this house?" And I just went the whole day announcing. I made him film me. I announced every single thing I did. I thought, you put so much love and thought into these videos. This was a video I was just like, whatever, simple. I threw it up, 35 million views. Like it went crazy. It was one of those videos that people just resonated with. That hit home for a lot of people.
How does your husband feel being the butt of so many jokes?
He's a ham a little bit. Like I like to say, he handles it. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, I don't know how he does," and I'm like, he's just fine. There are some times like I tell like on stage, jokes I would never say online. And he's a good sport because I go hard.
You do, you do. How is it being a female in such a male-dominated industry? I mean, I get asked that question all the time, and my answer, and I feel like very similar to you, like it doesn't really matter, but I view it as it helps you stand out, and you definitely stand out from the pack.
Yeah, I think it's so funny. When I first started, I was like, oh my God, I felt like it was so many men. I feel like in the last decade, women have really come on the scene. And I feel like even when I'm on showcase shows, like my favorite comics are often the female ones, which makes me so happy. Women in comedy really had to break through that, like, women aren't funny concept that people had. Like, people forget Moms Mabley and Joan Rivers and, Carol Burnett, Lucille Ball. Like, there were people way more famous than any man doing comedy years before we started. But the reality of the situation, and I think the biggest thing we had to overcome was if I was on a lineup 10, 12 years ago, sometimes I was the only female on the show, right? There were 4 other guys. And if, me and 2 guys didn't do that well that night, they're like, oh, women aren't funny. It was a mathematical equation. It's like, no, did you say that men weren't funny because 2 of the other 4 didn't do well? Now you look at some of these lineups and there's so many women.
Before we touch on your New Jersey shows, I want to know, what is next for you, though? I mean, you're dominating social media. You're on tour all the time. Are you looking to television and movies and Hollywood?
Yeah, I've been, I think once you create your own platform, opportunities start to come to you on their own. And I do, I have a few scripts that I'm reading now, one for a movie and one for TV that were sent to me. So I think, you want to do everything, right? I started acting. I didn't start in doing stand-up comedy. My start was in, stage acting. And I did, the commercial with you so I think I was in front of the camera in a different way. I worked for the Yankees, on camera. So I do think you have to just be really good at one thing before you can really branch out. And I feel like stand-up comedy was really the platform for me to get my other opportunities. So yes, there will be more.
What comedy clubs around New Jersey are you playing at?
So I'm at the Algonquin Arts Theater in Manasquan, and I learned that is Central Jersey. In fact, 2 of my most viral videos ever were about New Jersey because I didn't know Central Jersey existed.
Even people from New Jersey don't know Central Jersey existed. So don't worry about that.
I learned the difference between a pork roll and a Taylor ham, and now I know what a jug handle is. So I'm definitely a more informed New Yorker than I've ever been before because I perform so much in New Jersey. I love those audiences. I'll also be at Uncle Vinny's Comedy Club, which is down the shore. That is the proper way to say that, correct?
Yes,
I'm going to be
correct.
down the shore at Uncle Vinny's Comedy Club in July and I believe in October.
Why do you think you resonate so much with the New Jersey audience?
I think it was initially the New Jersey Italians, if I must be honest. I think New Jersey, everybody, New Jersey and New York, so similar, so different, but not with Italians. I think New Jersey Italians and New York Italians have a lot in common from like the slang and dialect we use here now in America to the food. So the traditions that we kept. So I think that initially got me. When I ask people like how they found me, it's always from social media. And the videos that they found me from are either from the Italian words and phrases that I did, the ones I heard. And those specifically were for New York. I said these were the Italian words and phrases I heard growing up in a New York neighborhood. But New Jersey was like, that's us. That is us.
Yeah.
And then the video I told you about my husband throwing out the garbage. And then I went golfing one day and just stated all the obvious things that I thought were wrong. And those people from New Jersey went crazy with that.
Tara, thank you so much. This was so cool to have you on here today. And I look forward to continuing to follow you and your career and rooting for you always.
Thank you.
Where can people find out more about you, get tickets, and see your skits online?
So everything is Tara Jokes. Instagram is Tara Jokes. YouTube is Tara Jokes. My website is Tara Jokes. It's Tara Cannistraci, but I figured with a long Italian name like that, I had to cut that down. On Facebook, I'm Tara Cannistraci, though. You can find me there at Tara Cannistraci.
Tara, once again, thank you so much and best of luck in everything always.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. We'll see you back here next week.